It's going to be interesting, especially if he has to work on an AJ card or a Conor Benn card, but it's Carl Froch. I mean, once you've sold 80,000 tickets at Wembley...
This is Danny Gaffone for Pro Boxing fans in Sheffield, where we have just seen Dalton Smith stop Jose Zepeda in 5 rounds. Pleasure to be joined by Ade Oladipo. Ade, I think a lot of people rightly saw this a big step up with Dalton. A lot of people picked Dalton to win. I didn't see anyone picking them quite as conclusively. What's your take on the fight?
Yeah, no one, I mean, they'll be lying if they said Dalton was going to get him to a body shot early in the fight. That's an incredible performance, it really is. Like, Dalton, I mean, to go from the likes of, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I mention his name, Sam Mason, Sam Maxwell, to Jose Zepeda, and to do that to him. Jose Zepeda isn't a 40-year-old washed that's been getting smashed to pieces recently. This is the guy that's 34 and is coming off fighting the likes of Richardson Hitchens and Regis Prograis. He's still very serviceable. So for Dalton to do that to him, I think it sends out a message to a lot of the 140-pounders. Maybe not the very elite. Like, I don't think Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney are going to be worrying right now. But the guys below that should be thinking Dalton Smith's coming.
And it's getting late, so I don't want to go through the whole card. Just a quick word on Campbell Hatton. Obviously, because of the Hatton name, and he's always coming under criticism, obviously suffered his first loss tonight. What do you think the next step for Campbell should be? Should be an immediate rematch, maybe a softer touch? What would you do if you were managing Campbell Hatton?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because, yes, it's Campbell Hatton. Removing the name, this is the guy that's had 15 fights now. And I don't know if you do softer touches. I almost feel like if I'm Eddie, and to be fair, if you're Jimmy Flint, you're going to want to go back in there. When it stays on. If you're Jimmy Flint, you're thinking, look at what I just fought in front of for a Central Area title. So if I'm Campbell, you roll the dice again. I mean, it wasn't a 98-92 fight. I thought it was a bit closer than that. But I saw room for improvement in there. He knows now that he can go the distance as well. So if I'm Campbell Hatton, I asked to go again. I know Eddie said one more, then go again. But if I'm him, I'll go straight in again and see what you got. If you lose again, then maybe you've got to ask serious questions about where you are and what you want to do in the sport. But it wasn't the worst performance. I mean, we've all been watching Campbell since the beginning. I think he's improving. He's just not improving at the pace that people want to see. Because if you're being truthful, I mean, Jimmy Flint hasn't fought anyone either. So, I don't know, man. I feel sorry for him. There's a lot of pressure. I spoke to Conor Benn about the pressure of just having the famous name. So they have to make a tough decision very soon.
Ade, whilst you've just got to get quick thoughts on what happened in Saudi Arabia. I know we've probably spoken about it at length since, but it's my first time catching up with you. Obviously, Anthony Joshua looking as destructive as ever against Francis Ngannou. Feels like off the back of that performance from AJ, like the public perception on him's done a complete 180. You've got people speaking, he'll destroy Tyson Fury, and it feels like not that long ago people were calling for him to retire. What's your take on it? Are you one side, the other, somewhere in the middle?
I've been very honest with this and saying I'm not going to get too high with my highs with AJ and no longer get too low with my lows. As good as AJ looked, and he looked fantastic, I think we've got to be brutally honest about Francis Ngannou. And obviously, look, Francis Ngannou got a lot of plaudits because of the Tyson Fury fight, but I think AJ showed what really should happen when a fighter from boxing fights a guy from MMA. The last performance against Otto Volini was fantastic as well. Look, I think AJ looks fantastic. I've always said with AJ, he's got all the tools, it's just the mindset. And for some reason, it looks like Ben Davison and Lee Whiteley have unlocked something in the mindset. And now he just walks around like a god. He walks around like, I am the #1 heavyweight in the world. Look, I want to see the Fury fight badly. I think some want to see an Usyk trilogy. I don't really want to see that. But if you're AJ, you should be confident about fighting everyone now. Whether it is Joseph Parker next, there's a lot of rumours about that. AJ is one of the best heavyweights on planet Earth. And he should be confident going in there with anyone. Because he looks good, he's setting his shots up well, but ultimately it's that. And I think right now, that is right there with AJ, and that's the best thing.
So, not announced, but reported, heavily reported, Wilder Zhang, sort of 2-1. Is that a fight between the two biggest one-punch punchers in the heavyweight division? And secondly, who wins it?
Yeah, potentially it is, right? I mean, AJ we might have an argument, but it is. I mean, both of them coming off defeat to the same person. I thought Zhang did okay in the first maybe 4-5 rounds against Joseph Parker, got a couple of knockdowns, but ultimately Joseph Parker just won more. Whereas I thought Wilder looked awful against Joseph Parker, like a shadow of himself. And you know what the thing is? I almost feel like Wilder's too small for Zhang. Like Zhang weighs the same amount of Tyson Fury, if not more. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for Wilder in that one. I mean, Zhang, I know he's 40, 41, but I still think there's a lot left in him. Whereas Wilder, I just don't know where he is. He's not even a part-time boxer. So I'm not quite sure. But look, ultimately, it's going to be fantastic for the first four. I just want to see the old Wilder back. Like, I was interviewing Wilder and it was all nice, and I want to see the angry guy. I don't want to see a boxer. I want to see a guy that knows his limitations and just goes and tries to land that right hand. And then we might have something special, but I don't know. But as a co-main event, it's fucking ridiculous. Pardon my French, it's ridiculous. If that really does happen, this could be the greatest fight card we've ever seen. Like, I'm old enough to remember the Don King fight cards of the 80s. This is them. I mean, if you are really talking Bivol Beterbiev, Zhang Wilder, Hrgovic Dubois, Shiraz Williams, Nick Ball, Ray Foy, are you kidding me? Like, come on, stop it. Like, stop. Turkey, you've won the race for the best fight card ever. But I still have reservations about a few of them.
Big up Turkey. Very last one, Ade. I've done an interview with Ade through the week and mentioned some of the comments Carl Froch has been making about Conor Benn and AJ, and it was put to him that obviously Carl's been on Dazn working with you boys before, not as a full-time gig, like as a freelance type thing, and Eddie said he'd be more than happy to have Carl back on. How do you think it would go if Carl was working on a Dazn broadcast now, given some of the comments he's made on Froch on fighting, and he's stirring the pot? Yeah, you know what, he has. I don't know why he's gone that route. I mean, I love Carl Froch personally. I grew up watching all of Carl Froch, one of my best ever British fighters. In fact, one of my best ever fighters. I think he's severely underrated. But he has said a few strange things recently. But that's what he does now. Obviously, he's getting really good numbers on Froch on fighting, like crazy numbers. And I guess you've got to like continue to say controversial stuff to get those numbers. But look, he's worked with Dazn, as you say. He will come back and work with Dazn. It's going to be interesting, especially if he has to work on an AJ card or a Conor Benn card. But it's Carl Froch. I mean, once you've sold 80,000 tickets at Wembley, you can say what Carl said when he lost at Wembley.
Yeah, it happened, right? So you can say what you want. But look, he's just doing things because they know they get good numbers. And you know, I will say this though. He's saying stuff that a lot of us can't openly say. So sometimes that's actually quite refreshing, that you got a guy that's saying whatever they want. So I don't blame him. If I was a retired Carl Froch, I'd probably say some stuff as well. I'd love to, but we just don't have that freedom, so good luck to him.
Ade, really appreciate you doing this. I know you're looking to shit off, top man.
Thanks.